I think that's it for the flip and shift part. I'm going to go ahead and bring Lolita on, but I just want to let you guys know this topic tonight is extremely, extremely important for you guys to hear about because it's debilitating for a lot of people. It can be an annoyance for some people to have food sensitivities, to have environmental sensitivities, for people that are dealing with, allergens right now. And they're like, oh my gosh, I've got migraines up the wazoo. My eyes are itching. I'm allergic. I'm starting to be allergic to everything in my house. Allergies and sensitivities can all be can all be fixed. And I want to say that very lightly. But Lolita, I'm bringing her on. She experienced devastating, debilitating issues from sensitivities. Food limitations, food restrictions, food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities. It was to the point where she was not eating a lot of food, limiting to her exposure of getting outside of her home. And we hear this a lot from a lot of people that are dealing with chemical sensitivities. They can't even go through grocery aisles, Tide aisles, can't go and get, certain types of detergents and things to be able to clean their homes. And then also the devastating thing of hearing from patients that are down to like 10 foods. That's the only thing that they can handle. They're so sensitive. And I'm so excited to bring her on. I'm going to go ahead and request her now. So without further ado, I'm going to see if I can pull Lolita on manually. So just give me a hot minute. And I'm going to introduce Lolita. She herself dealt with all of this and was able to completely recover, you guys. Hey, Lolita, how are you?
Hi, good.
Sorry, it took me a hot minute.
Adjusting my camera a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
I'm hoping it doesn't fall off.
How's your morning going? How's your morning?
It's beautiful autumn morning here. Perfect day. Sunshine, very still. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, what's the temperature though? What is it like?
I haven't checked, but it feels like about maybe 10 degrees, 11 degrees maybe.
I think what that would be for Fahrenheit. But yeah, it sounds perfect.
Chilly. It's like a chill in the air. Yes.
And that's my type of weather though. I will tell you. So,
autumn's my favorite weather down here.
It is mine as
beautiful.
Well. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. So real quick, I want to introduce Lolita Holmes. She is from Stress Free. It's actually Stress Free and Fast. She has a website. It's www. I need my glasses because I have old people eyes now. So I'm on the struggle bus today. It's www.stressfreefast.com.au. And she also has a Facebook page and an IG handle. So it's Stress Free Fast for Facebook. And then on IG, it's Lolita_stress_free_fast. And Tiffany's going to post all of that information in the comments down below.
Lovely.
So welcome, Lolita, again. You're here.
Thank you so much. And very new on YouTube as well.
Oh, okay.
Getting some videos up on YouTube, learning how to use YouTube. So
wonderful. Well, thank you.
All very exciting.
Yes. Everybody's going to love that. So Lolita's here to talk a little bit about faster EFT with multiple chemical sensitivities, food sensitivities, and we're probably going to touch a little bit about mold sensitivities because a lot of people, and I know I was a mold sufferer, and it's mind-blowing about how much I chased mold and did all these detox modalities and I was going in circles. It wasn't until I started taking a deep dive in this type of work was when I started making changes.
In the brain work, right?
In the brain. So now Lolita was on last week, and she gave a little bit of her background, but there's some new followers because a lot of people are really interested in this topic, and a lot of followers are suffering from some of the things that you suffered from. So could you give just a little bit of your background and your experience with this?
Sure. So, before I got really sick, I had started to develop allergies, and I was in a very bad relationship where there was a lot of violence.
Okay.
And I believe now I understand, the brain better, that, my body was reacting to the stress.
Okay.
Because I was hyper vigilant constantly,
So
watching out for, the next time that was going to happen. So
okay.
under enormous stress, emotional stress, previous to that, I'd had a lot of traumatic childhood traumas.
Okay.
And then I went into anaphylaxis. I had and went into anaphylactic shock. I
Wow.
actually died in the ambulance. I had a
Wow.
near-death experience
Oh my
after this
goodness.
allergic reaction, and not long after that, because I had an epiphany when I had that near-death experience. I had to make a decision: was I going to continue putting myself through this and my two small children at the time, or was it time to get out?
Yeah.
And the decision was made that I had to get out.
Yeah.
But I still had lots and lots of allergies, and they were getting worse. It wasn't just one thing. It was
Yeah.
lots and lots of things. So,
Yeah. It gets
I
narrowed in.
started the whole gluten-free thing
Oh, gee. Yeah.
40 years ago. Okay, it's
Lolita,
the gluten. It must be gluten. It must be sugar.
that
And
was
then
around 40.
I,
Sorry, Lolita,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
around 40 years
yeah.
ago. I didn't
40
realize
years
that.
ago,
Wow.
I was off gluten. 38, about 38, 30,
Okay.
36, something like that. Yep, yep. So then, I left that marriage
Mm-hmm.
and went through a lot of trauma through that. And then, I was still very unwell. I was kind of, always a bit tired and fatigued, and was always, just didn't feel well.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, was it now, about 20 years ago, I had a physical injury,
Mm.
and that then propelled me going into being diagnosed with lupus and fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and all the allergies and chemical sensitivities and food sensitives then just accelerated. Everything
Wow.
just accelerated.
Okay.
And then, of course, during the 17 years of living in chronic pain and this chronic illness, I discovered a lot of things. I was learning a lot of things because I was trying everything, like a lot of you out
Oh,
there. You
yeah.
just try so many things. And there weren't as many things available back then as they
Yeah.
are now.
That's true. Yeah.
But even then, I was trying everything,
Sure.
anything and everything anybody would mention. And I would travel out of state. I was having all the conventional medicines. I was due to have massive surgery on my spine and other parts of my body. So I was in a really bad way. And
Wow.
as you said, 11 years of that, I was bedridden. I barely left my house. I barely
Oh
left
my
my
God.
room.
Wow.
I'm doing a COVID isolation, for 11 years.
COVID is
So,
nothing on you, right? It's
no,
true.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But these food sensitivities and chemical sensitivities that's what people are battling. It's like their COVID-19, these
Mm-hmm.
food fears.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I've discovered, and particularly since I started doing the Taptics Fast T training,
Mm-hmm.
learning so much about the brain and how the brain is creating these illnesses in us. And
Yeah.
I started to read books, a couple of books I'd recommend to your listeners. Check out Dr. Gabor Mate.
Okay.
He's written a book, when the body says no.
Can you say that one more
And
time? What is
when the
that?
body says no. I have it here with me. I have
Okay.
it right here. Look.
Perfect. Tiffany, can you
Okay.
post that down there? Yeah, that'd be good.
And
Thank you.
he talks about this stress disease connection, and how trauma and ongoing significant stressful events in your life will eventually, the brain will say to you, no more,
Yeah.
and you'll develop these diseases. The other person I recommend is Dr. Bessel van der Kolk,
Okay.
and his book is called The Body Keeps a Score. So
Yeah.
again, it's the stress disease trauma connection.
Yes.
Not just the ACE studies that we talked about last time, the adverse childhood experience traumas, but all the ongoing stresses and traumas.
Yeah.
And since I've been doing the faster EFT process, so I work as a self-empowerment coach. My system is called the Ultimate Self-Empowerment System. So like you, I'm about teaching the client to learn about their brain, how their brain works, and empowering them with the tool to make the changes.
That's wonderful.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so all the clients that I've seen over the last 5 years with chemical sensitivities and food sensitivities, they all have underlying stress and trauma. Every single one of them.
Are you seeing reoccurrent themes with that? I mean, as far as specifics?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You know, a lot of them are still in very unhappy marriages and wondering why they're not getting well. Mm-hmm. You know, they're dissatisfied, they're unhappy with their work life, you know, and just their view of themselves. They walk around with this terrible self-talk going on inside their head, just like I did. You know, you're a useless mother, I used to say to myself. You know, you're terrible, like all this negative self-talk going on in my head constantly.
Right.
And, you know, which all develops from early childhood. If you've got negative talk going on inside your head, it started when you're a child.
Yes.
You know, be aware of that. Yeah. But this process will help you to take control of that. Yeah. You know, it'll help you to change it.
Yes.
So whatever's happening in your body is just following the brain. Yeah. Okay? Whatever you have in your brain is what the body is following with.
Right.
So the one theme that I keep coming across, Julie, is when I'm working with people with chronic chemical sensitives and food sensitives, they actually start off by saying, I am very sensitive. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm so sensitive.
Yep. Yes.
And that's one of the first things. Do you hear that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the first things that we look into. We go dive deep into that. You know, how do you know that you're sensitive? Who told you that you're highly sensitive? Where did that begin? Because if you are...
That's a really good point.
If you're walking around.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of people on here don't think about that. They just say it as it's just like they repeat it to themselves. And what you just said, can you repeat that one more time? Because I think people need to hear. Yeah.
Well, the words that you say to yourself. So if you're walking around saying to yourself, you know, I'm so sensitive, you know, I'm empathic. I'm an empathic person. These are disempowering statements that your affirmations, right? They're affirmations that you're saying to yourself. And it's a place of disempowerment. You're disempowering yourself by using that. But you've got to look into how you develop that thinking.
Absolutely.
And I haven't had one person who walks around saying, I'm so sensitive, who hasn't been told they were.
Yes.
You know, their family members told them when they were very young, oh, you're so sensitive.
Yes.
And then they develop that belief about themselves. Now, a lot of this work is about beliefs.
Well, don't you think, too, that I just wanted to counter off that one, too, is what you just said is they were told that, but then do you find where some parents also, too, they heard that their parents were sensitive? I mean, some patients just learned that their mom was always sensitive to things, and they learned that. Okay. Okay, I just wanted to ask you that. Okay.
And a lot of my work is looking at generational trauma, which is what Dr. Gabor Mate talks about. We go back to the generations to figure out where these beliefs come from, where these patterns come from. Any patterns and programs that you're running, you've got to look back at the generations past to see where they've come from. And the wonderful thing about Faster EFTs, we can use this process to change all of that programming,
cool.
right?
That's cool. Yeah,
super.
That's cool.
I love doing the generational work.
I think that's
amazing. The other thing Dr. Gabor Mate talks about is your problem starts from the womb. And a lot of people don't do this work, and I love doing this work. I start from the womb. And the prenatal psychology research shows that from the 3rd trimester, the baby's in the womb and the baby's exposed to chemicals, right? Or the mother has certain food sensitivities or chemical sensitivities, the baby will also start to develop that.
Wow.
The baby's brain is already wired to absorb everything that's happening with the mother and the father as well. They know who the father is when they're born because they've heard the father's voice, you know, and the mannerisms and the tone of his voice and everything. So they know. You watch them, they'll follow. They follow their father's voice from the moment that they're born.
Yeah.
And so it starts from the womb, you know, and he's going to be releasing a book. I'm so excited about it. And it's all about this period in the womb and how our disease and our illnesses stem from the womb onwards.
That's amazing.
Okay. That's very exciting.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So this is all what I've discovered and that's what I discovered about my own problem and how I've been able to solve my problem is, you know, it's all the traumas, all the stressful events that I have experienced since I was a small child on now. And that's what I've been addressing with the work that I'm doing. And that's what I do with my clients.
Wow. That's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Talk a little bit.
We do that by memories.
Okay.
Okay. We with Fast EFT, it's a memory reconsolidation process. Mm-hmm. So if someone comes to me and they say, I can't eat, you know, I'm down to eating one food, I'm eating 2 foods. Everything else I eat, my gut hurts, I'm burning, I get a headache. They get all these symptoms whenever they eat these foods. The first thing I do is, you know, we talk about the nervous system and how the traumas and significant stressful events that they have experienced, how that impacts the nervous system.
Okay.
Okay. And so even though the trauma happened years ago, we get triggered by that in the present moment.
Yes.
Okay, because we're living in the past 24/7.
Right.
Our brain is constantly looking at the information to keep us safe from back then.
Yep.
So something happens in the present, we get triggered, and straight away we go into the thought process of, I don't feel safe. Oh my goodness, what's happening? You know, I'm so sad. And when we go into those thoughts, the body's releasing a chemical cocktail.
Yeah.
Into your nervous system. And your nervous system goes into the fight-flight response, and you're ready to run. You're ready to run from that situation.
Yes.
Okay? And if that's happening constantly, then your nervous system is wired for hypervigilance.
Yes. For
hyper-aware. Yeah. And that's what's affecting your body when you eat those foods.
Wow.
When you go, even before you eat those foods, your body's going into the fight-flight response.
Is it because you're thinking that the food is going to cause a problem? Is it going to harm?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So it's what you do before you do it even. And I'll show you a little technique today as an example how that happens.
Yeah.
And so I can be talking to someone and they'll be talking about their allergy to, say, nuts.
Yeah.
Right? Just talking about it will put them into that allergic reaction. Just talking about it. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You'll see, I think Robert Smith, who's the creator of Fast EFT.
Yes.
He has a video where he's working with a person, and that's what happens. She goes into allergic reaction, which he pulls her out of very quickly, of course.
That's
but
amazing.
This is how the brain creates these food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, allergies.
It's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So if the nervous system is constantly on hypervigilant, hyper alert. So say, for example, your nervous system is already like this because of all the traumas and experiences that you've had in the past.
Yeah.
And then in the present moment, all of this fear is going on around us with the COVID-19.
Yes.
Or you're unhappy at work.
Yeah.
Or you're unhappy in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever's going on in your life.
Yeah.
That's running in the background in your brain.
Yes.
Then your nervous system is still constantly on hyper alert.
Sure.
Okay, because it's not feeling safe. There's something here, I don't feel safe.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that's what happened to me. So
Okay.
so what usually triggers these illnesses? So you've got to ask yourself, why is this happening to me and not to all of those people out there? Why can they just go to the supermarket and walk down that aisle and I can't?
Yeah.
Why are they able to just eat anything and everything and it doesn't affect them?
Yes.
But I'm like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you start asking yourself that question.
Yeah.
And then look really closely at what's causing you unhappiness in your life. What's causing stress in your life.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And get to work on, and then you go to work on that using this memory reconsolidation process.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And so the food and the chemicals are just a signal for you to look deeper at your stuff.
Yes.
Look deeper at what's making me unhappy. So the things that will trigger it will be physical trauma, which is what happened with me.
Right.
Emotional trauma. So maybe there's been a death in the family. You've just, had to leave your marriage. You've lost your job. Whatever that emotional trauma will trigger.
Yep.
Environmental trauma. You've been exposed to sprays or something like that and you become very sick. And spiritual trauma as well. People who are deeply spiritual, if they've had a really bad experience with their church members or some other type of, spiritual kind of wounding. And Dr. Gabor Mate talks a lot about this, the wound, the wound that we experience from early childhood onwards. And when I had my physical fall, I was deeply unhappy. I was just walking around with this deep, deep sadness and grief inside of me.
Yeah.
I had, children, I had my job and married, and I was so unhappy.
Right.
And I just couldn't figure it out what's going on. Of course, I was blaming my husband.
Yeah.
I was blaming other things for my unhappiness.
That happens.
Oh, if he could just show me more affection, I wouldn't feel like this.
Right, right.
But it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all.
And I just want to share with our followers my experience with mold. So
yes.
I'm over 40. All right. I'm just going to throw that out there. I like to tell everybody I'm 39.
Congratulations.
I'm 39. Yeah, thank you. I made it over 40. But anyway, I won't tell you my real age. But anyway, I tell people, I was a mold illness survivor, but really when I think back about it, I'm like, how is it that I was exposed to mold 20 plus, probably close to 20 plus years ago. Okay. And 20 plus years later, now I'm sick with mold. And it didn't make sense to me until I started doing this work. And really what Lolita talks about is that 20 years ago, I had to go back to where I remember where I was exposed at with mold, right? And what was going on with me at that time. I was a graduate student.
Yes.
I was living in the basement of a dingy ass house. I was dealing with so much stress with the boyfriend.
Wow.
I was way just crazy feeling at that time. And then fast forward to when I got sick with quote unquote mold illness. I was stressed.
The brain remembered it. The body keeps the score, right?
Exactly. That's what happened.
And also what happens, so I hear this all the time. All the people that I've worked with mold, exactly the same situation.
Yes.
They were under enormous amount of stress. But you don't think about those things, right, at the time.
No.
And also what the brain will do. So when you were in the basement and you're unhappy and all of that was going on, Julie,
Yeah.
your brain took a snapshot of that experience, right? And it
Right.
downloaded it into the cortexes for you to remember
Yes.
to not do that again. Don't do that again, Julie. That's not good for you, right?
Right.
But
Right.
also it's the meaning that you gave it at the time, the meaning that you were giving yourself and your life at the time, the
Yeah.
brain records. And the way the brain records it, so when it takes a snapshot, it's what you saw, what you heard, what you were feeling, the smells, okay, downloaded the smell, any taste that you felt in your mouth, any sensations that you felt in your body,
Yep.
the brain records all of that.
Yep.
And this is why Faster EFT is so successful in
Yes.
its process, how it helps people, because that's what we address.
Yeah.
So when we support you to look at your memory from the past that's connected to this problem, we help you to look at those things, you know.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a little example of how that works, Julie.
Okay.
I want you to close your eyes and I want you to just notice your front door where you're living now. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what I want you to do is I want you to change the color of your front door.
Okay.
Can you see the knob as well, the door handle?
Yep.
Just go ahead and change that as well.
Okay. Cool. Yep.
Okay, got that. Now open your eyes. Were you able to do that?
Yep.
What color was it?
It's weird. A green door with a red knob.
Green door with a red knob. That's what you
Yes.
changed it to.
Yes.
Yeah? But that's not what your door looks like now.
No. No. It's not.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So what you did then was in a heartbeat, you found that memory of your front door,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Your brain knew what it looked like.
Yep.
And then with your brain, you were able to change the color and the doorknob.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Right? So this is significant to understand how you did that.
Yes.
And we can all do that.
Yes.
You know, all you people that are listening out there, you can do that.
Yeah.
And that's what we do with Faster EFT. We just take you to your memory.
Okay.
We help you to look at it for a very short time.
Yeah.
You look at the memory and we pull you out of that memory very quickly and the brain will change it.
Wow. Yeah.
Often the brain will just change it by itself.
Yes.
Other times, you know, you will need a little guidance to be able to change it.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So say, for example, you know, you keep seeing the image of someone's face in that memory.
Yeah.
Because the brain recorded that. So
Right.
you see the expression on the person's face. Maybe it was someone who was yelling at you, shouting at you.
Yes.
Right. After you've tapped several rounds on that, so the brain, so when we tap and when we choose the memory that we want to tap on, every time you go in and out of a memory, you're scratching the surface of it.
Yeah.
Right? And it changes it in the brain. It flattens it out, the neural pathway in the brain.
Okay.
Now, if you want to understand and know more about memories, please go online and have a look at a brilliant TED Talk by Daniela Schiller.
Yes.
And she explains how memories are constantly changing. They're changing all the time. Just like you just went in and changed to green door with a red handle.
Yes.
We can do that with our memories.
Now, how would you do it, Lolita, if somebody was dealing with something? I mean, how could you tap on that, you know, if you're dealing with maybe some fear over something that they're about ready to eat? How would you teach?
Okay, so I use a process. Psychologists call it temporal distancing.
Okay.
We call it play the movie, and it's kind of like time travel. It's kind of emotional time traveling.
Okay.
So would you like to have an example? And you can either pretend
I
just
can
so that I
pretend.
can guide you. I
I
can
wasn't,
guide
I
you
was,
through and just show people.
I avoided sugar like the plague. It terrified me.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're okay with sugar now?
I'm
You can
okay with
go to
sugar
eat.
now. Yes.
Yeah. So you go
Yeah.
to eat sugar doesn't really bother you beforehand. You don't go into, oh, I can't eat that sugar.
I think only for the fact that I'm in a workout program and I'm trying to be conscious of it, but I'm not as
Right?
fearful of it as what I was, but I could probably still work on it. I could definitely still
Okay.
work. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
Yep. So we will do this, play the movie technique.
Okay.
And so you can use this for so many things. You can use this if you're having trouble sleeping,
Yeah.
if you're worried about going on that first date,
Yeah.
you know, you're
Yeah.
going for a job interview, whatever it is that you're thinking about
Yeah.
and it's going to happen and you're fearful of it, you can use this process.
Okay.
But really, really amazing for food. But what I would say, Julie, is don't do this, or you can do it, but it's not going to be as effective as if you do the deeper work first,
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
You've got to do the memory reconsolidation work first
Yes.
to calm the nervous system down.
Right. Right.
Once the nervous system is less hypervigilant and hyper aware,
Mm-hmm.
then you do this process and it works very easily.
Okay.
But I've been able to help somebody do that in 15 minutes or half
Wow.
an hour. I have my 30-minute sessions.
Yes.
If someone rings me up and they say, look, I want to eat this food and I'm really scared, I want to introduce this food, I'll go through this with them and we can resolve it very quickly. So
That's wonderful.
I do 30 minutes for $30. I
Okay.
only do my 15-minute sessions at events when I go to
I see.
live
Yeah.
events, and I offer that to people and they get changes in 15 minutes. It works
Okay.
beautifully. Works
Okay.
beautifully. But you can, yes, so you've got to do the deeper work first, address the traumas, address all the stresses so that your nervous system is calm, coming
Mm-hmm.
from a calm place. And tapping has been shown by research, the science of tapping is shown to reduce cortisol levels faster than anything else.
It's amazing.
40,
Yeah.
42%
Wow.
faster than anything else that they tested against, shunk. It comes down.
That's
And I
amazing.
hear that all the time when I'm tapping with people. You do a first round of tapping and they just feel so calm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They feel really calm and relaxed.
Yeah.
And if people want to, as I'm doing this with you, they can tap
Yeah.
along if they want to.
As
All
she
right?
shows you guys what she's going to show me how to tap, right? So while we're doing this, I would encourage all of you guys to just tap along with Alita and I. That way you
That's
kind of
right.
understand what it feels like and, you'll get the feelings
And
out of
get a
it.
change, feel a
Yes.
change. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you're tapping, you can tap with one hand, you can tap with both hands, you can tap on either side. It doesn't really matter. The tapping is the least important part of the whole process.
Right.
It's all the other things that you're doing.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I like you to do first is think about the outcome that you want first.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Our imagination is the smartest part of us, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
And we can use our imaginations to heal ourselves.
Yes.
Right? So everything that you see, everything that's there in your room now, everything that's in my room here, once upon a time it was someone's imagination.
Yeah.
Okay. This phone that I'm using was someone's imagination once.
Yes.
And that's become a reality.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can do that with your mind. Use your imagination to create the life that you want.
Right.
All right. So what we do in Faster FT is we look at the problem, what it is, we find what the structure of that problem is, and often a big part of that problem, particularly food and chemical sensitivities, will be our beliefs about that problem, what we believe about it. And what I would encourage you to do, everyone, is go and listen to Dr. David Hamilton talk about the placebo and the nocebo.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Because what is happening here a lot of the time with food and chemical sensitivities is the placebo effect.
Yeah. That's
Or
true.
the nocebo effect.
Yeah.
Right. It's too fearful, so I don't want to do it. It's too
Right.
scary.
Yeah.
So learn about that so that you understand that about yourself,
Right.
because a lot of people when they come to me they say, I just don't understand. I've eliminated all this food. There's no chemicals in my home. I'm not in a mold. There's no mold in my house now,
Right.
but I'm still sick.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
And that's because of this placebo, nocebo going on in the brain. And it's about our beliefs that
Yes.
we carry about that problem.
Lolita,
And
real quick, we have about 15 minutes left total for Q&A.
Okay.
So
Right. So I want to answer those questions.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you guys, if you want to watch just an example of tapping, go back to Lolita's live from last week and you'll see her do a live example of tapping on Tiffany. So I don't think we'll be able to really necessarily be able to knock out a tapping session right now, but
No.
let's get to the Q&A.
What I can...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Do you want to do Q&A now? Do you want to do Q&A now, or would you like me to just run you very quickly through that play the movie technique?
Yeah, let's do that if we can get it in, so that way we can answer some of these questions. All right, let's go ahead.
Are any of the questions related to this, or they're very, very different? Any of the questions about what we've spoken about already? Because I want to go into those if they are.
Yeah, I'm looking to see. There's a lot of comments. So let's just go ahead and do it. Let's do a tapping.
Okay,
that would work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, everyone work deeper on your stuff first, and this process will work much better for you then. All right. So just close your eyes, Julie, and just imagine that food that you want to introduce, that you would really like to have. Okay. So in your mind, you'll notice pictures of it. You'll probably even notice the smell of that food. Yes. You'll notice even when you last had it. Mm-hmm. And maybe even the reaction that you had last time. So you might be going into a bit of fear right now, going, oh no, I can't eat that food because last time my gut hurt, I was so sick, all of that stuff, right? So your brain will bring that back. And the other thing your brain will do is it'll even find all the other ones.
Okay.
Right? It'll go back like you with the mold. Mm-hmm. It'll go back in. It'll find all the other ones, just like you did with the door, very quickly.
Yeah.
Right, sure. and then you'll go into a state of fear if that happens. Now, what you do then is you stop and you open your eyes. You look around you. This is the first defrag, right? Okay. And then you tap, and you make sure that you feel your fingertips, and you tap on that fear that your brain just told you about that food. No, you can't have it because your gut's going to really suffer, right? So you'll go through that process. And then what you do is you close your eyes and you go back and you try and do it again. You look at that food. So say, for example, it's a pear. Okay. I'd really love to eat a pear, but every time I've eaten pears before, this happens. But what you'll notice the second time you go back and check is that it'll feel a bit better. Okay. It'll feel lighter. It won't feel as scary because you've tapped on that scary feeling, right? And then you try again. This time, there might be just a little bit of fear left still there. So then you open your eyes again. You do another round of tapping, right? And you go back and check it again. So just do a very quick round of tapping on whatever you were thinking, whatever you were feeling about that food you want to introduce.
Okay.
And then you go back and check it again. And usually what happens, and it's different for everyone, some people I've done this with, on the first round, it's gone. They're ready to eat the food. They're already salivating, and in their mind, they're already eating it.
Wow.
Yeah. I have had several people they've done that, like that. Oh, I'm already eating it in their mind.
And just think, Lolita, they probably haven't had it in years. Because they've restricted
Exactly.
themselves. That's amazing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And they had the fear of it. So
Yes.
food sensitivities is food fear,
Yes.
and it's always linked, or, pretty much all the time, it's linked to possibly when you're eating that food at the dinner table, your dad was yelling at you,
Yeah.
or something else. There'll be links. I was out in a restaurant eating this food, and there was a huge fight.
Isn't that crazy?
So the brain makes these links,
Yep.
and it's my job as a practitioner to go and find those links.
Yes.
Okay.
That's amazing.
So that's a very simple explanation
Yes.
of how to do that play the movie technique before you go to eat that food.
Yes.
But first, lessen the nervous system. So let's go and have a look at some of these questions.
Yes. All right. So what do you do if it still causes a reaction?
So this question sounds like to me they probably haven't done the deeper work first.
Yeah.
But if you have done the deeper work and you introduce the food in that way that I've shown you, very slowly, very gently, imagining it first, and you still get a reaction, tap on the symptoms of the reaction.
That was the next question.
Okay.
After you eat, yes.
Yeah. And the meaning that you give it,
okay,
the reaction, because usually we go into, oh, not again, it's still happening. What am I going to do? This isn't working.
Yes.
Right? But just tap on the reaction and say, for example, it's a burning sensation in the gut. You have that reaction. What you would do is what we call submodality tapping.
Okay.
You would focus on the burning sensation in your stomach, give it a rating. How hot is that? How burning is that? Give it a color, the shape of it, the size of it, right? And you do that, the intensity of that burning sensation. And then again, open your eyes, you defrag, look around, okay? And then you tap on the sensations, that color, the shape, the feeling of it, the sensation of it, the shape of it.
Okay.
Do a round of tapping on that, and you'd go back and check it.
Wow.
Go back and check the reaction, and 99.9% of the time, it's much less. It's reduced.
Laura Lena just wrote, tapping on reactions works. I've done it, and it stopped dizziness and breathing issues. There you go.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful.
Absolutely. The most important part is to defrag. And I teach my clients 5 ways to defrag, right? One is open your eyes, look around you, roll your eyes around. Feel your fingertips. The second round, do a round of just laughing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The third round, you might sing a little tune to yourself, a little ditty.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
The fourth round, use numbers.
Okay.
Count backwards.
That's smart.
Okay, from 100 down.
Yes.
So and when you're tapping and you go to your peaceful place, that's another defrag. Go into that peaceful, happy place. So if you use those 5 ways of defragging on your symptoms, on your thoughts, if you're having a thought about food, you must tap on it.
Yes.
Or chemicals. Tap on the food or the mold.
Yes.
Okay. And do those 5 ways every single time, it will change. Yes. I can guarantee you. Because what you're doing is you're scrambling that information in the brain. You're flattening out that neural pathway that holds that information that you're holding onto to create that. Okay? I hope that answers that.
I think that did. Here, Laura Lena also wrote, I have such a hard time imagining eating the foods that have caused me issues. I have certain foods I can't imagine and others I just can't seem to picture. Do you have any suggestions?
Okay. I'd say they could be connected with memories. Mm-hmm. See if you can find memories. I've had people that have found memories. They were 4 years old.
Yeah.
And, they're sitting at the dinner table and mum's saying to them, you're not going to leave the table until you eat that food.
Right.
Right. So look for the memories.
Yes.
And look for the meanings that you give that food. Look for any links that the brain may have made with that food. And ask yourself also, does somebody else have a problem with that food?
Yes.
Because it may have been mum or dad that they may have said in conversation, oh, I can't eat apples. You know, apples make me feel so sick. And your brain will remember that. So find the links, find the memories, the meaning that you give it, and your belief about that food.
Healthy Fit Mom wrote, and this is and I'm just going to say this. This is so much connection to what I dealt with as well, because so many doctors tell you if you have mold illness, absolutely look at Candida, all right? And look at like sugar and carbs. And she wrote, this gives me so much hope.
Sense.
Yep. I'm fearful of sugar, carbs as well as because of mold. And I dealt with the same thing. What advice could you give her, Lolita, with that?
Okay, so if you've got candida or any of those kinds of things going on, look at your stresses.
Yeah.
Not just your stresses now, but the cumulative stress from the beginning, anything that stressed you, because it's the constant bombardment of the nervous system of stressful thinking, stressful experiences that impacts your immune system.
Yeah.
Right? It impacts your adrenals, impacts your hormones, your gut.
Yeah.
Everything is linked to that. So when you address your stresses, the candida won't be a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and your body is, you know, I've got this lovely list of positive affirmations about our body, Julie, and I'll give you that to send out to your listeners.
Thank you.
Because it's the constant negative affirmations that we are saying to ourselves that has such an impact on our food reaction.
Lolita,
so when I'm tapping with someone, I'm always bringing in positive affirmations.
Yes.
Always. Okay? To switch that.
I got two things I wanted to, we got 5 minutes left, but it's Shannon Smith, 28, wrote, I was diagnosed with Lyme and mold and have terrible food reactions. I have had symptoms since I was a child. I was always a stressed kid. I cannot remember much memories. We hear that all the time.
I'm a stressed kid. Work on that.
And can't remember memories. That's pretty common.
That's okay. If you can't remember memories, you just focus on just what you do know, what you've been told, what you have a sense of. So we don't walk around going, oh, I was a stressed kid unless somebody told you that. Right? So go back and ask them, you know, when you used to call me a stressed kid, what was I doing? What was going on?
Yeah.
You know, and you work on that. And you'll get a sense of it because you know your family. Always go back to your family of origin up until you were 7 is where you learned all your stuff that you have now.
Yes.
You know, your habits, your way of thinking, your view of yourself. I'm a stressed kid would have started there.
Yes.
Okay? Yep.
Now, one more thing. Can you give Shannon Smith hope? She wrote, I'm only eating 10 foods and only drinking water. Can you give her some words of encouragement, Lolita?
Do some work on your childhood memories. Yeah. Okay? Your child, any traumas, any fears, any stressful events, any grief, loss. You know, was dad incarcerated? Were your mum and dad fighting all the time? Was there divorce? Did you move house a lot? Yeah. All these things. You know, what happened at school? What were the stressful events that happened at school? All your relationships. Look at all your relationships. Yep. Use the faster EFT process to change that. Yeah. Okay. Yep. And your nervous system will calm down. And honestly, I can eat anything now.
That's wonderful.
I can even eat gluten.
So can I. Celebration.
You can, guys. You can eat anything, and I can walk down the chemical aisle in the supermarket. It does not bother me.
Yes.
I don't because I don't want any of that stuff. Yeah. But I can walk past it and go, oh.
Yeah, I know. I love
it. And not get triggered.
I'm smelling tubes of stuff all the time. I hear you with that, Lolita. We should have a party. Hey, you guys, we only have a few minutes left, but I just want to say this live, I think this helped so many people, Lolita. Thank you
I
so
hope so.
much.
I hope so.
You,
And look, come on over to my website, have a look, message me. My price points are all different
thanks.
because I work with you individually and we work out what's going to work best for you and for me. I
Yes.
do 2 hour sessions, I do 1 hour sessions, I do my 30-minute sessions. I'll have some courses going soon that you can hop onto that'll
Yeah.
be affordable. There's
Yes.
a whole lot of different ways that I can help you. Okay?
Awesome. And we posted all of her information, guys, in the feed, but we'll also post it on our Facebook page, our Facebook group, and on Instagram. So you'll be able to get
Thank
access to
you.
her. And I just want to say,
Thank you.
Lolita, you have been a gem, and we're just so happy that you've
I've
given
loved
us your
it. I've
time
loved it.
twice, 2 weeks in a row. So
You're welcome.
I really appreciate this. But thank you so much. We're going to be running out of time here, guys. This will be available for your access to view it for another 24 hours on IG. And then we'll download it, put our video back up on our Facebook page and group. And then Lolita will have it for her own use as well. So
Thank you. Thank
thank you
you.
so
Loving
much.
that.
Yeah, I hope you have
Thank
a
you
wonderful
guys for
day.
everything you do.
Thank
Okay.
you.